ladies and gents, the Huey running in towards us. Now, this is max chat for a Huey. That lovely distinctive noise you can hear, those rotors are spinning as fast as they can. And it's about 120 knots coming towards us. As he gets towards the centre of the airfield, it's going to pitch up for a wing over and then a descending figure eight. And that's such an iconic sound and view of the Iroquois. The Iroquois has been a workhorse of many countries' militaries over the years. The RNZF have 13 of these airframes remaining, but they've been in service with us from as way back as 1966. So that just shows you what a phenomenal design this helicopter is that's still going. Descending figure eight, he's going to bring it back around now to the left, and this will be a quick stop. Hopefully roughly crowd centre, and then he's going to demonstrate some of the helicopter's versatility with some sideways flight. Boys and girls, you can see the doors are open at the back, and that's the crewman hanging out the back there, Sergeant Cole Moore. He's originally from Australia, and he did fly with the Navy to start off with, but he's been flying with Huey since 2006. Served in a lot of countries around the world, and particularly with the New Zealand Air Force. It served in Antarctica, East Timor, Solomons, Bougainville and Sinai, and only last year it deployed on Omaka over to Papua New Guinea. We use this helicopter for a lot of things, ladies and gents. It's not our initial training aircraft, but we do complete training on it. More importantly, we use this aircraft to support other NZDF services and also other government operations. So some of its roles include tactical air mobility, so taking troops to and from places, special operations and support of the NZSAS, including counter-terrorism tasks. One of the things you guys will know it mainly from, of course, is search and rescue and disaster relief, but we also provide support to the New Zealand Police. Okay, back up with the climb. That was 150 feet he achieved there. And this will be a left turn. And into another wing over. So watch how high he pitches the nose, boys and girls, during this wing over to reposition. Up he goes. Captain of this aircraft today is Flight Lieutenant Sammy Estel. He's 26 years old. He's from Napier. He joined the Air Force in 2004 and has been flying Iroquois since 2007. So, just at the young age of 26, he's already achieved 1,500 hours on this aircraft. A nice forward pass there at 50 feet, give him away to everybody. And they'll do another wing over to reposition, and the next thing we're going to need one. And when you see the Huey up close, the amount of noise that it puts out actually belies the size. It's really not that big a helicopter. Its maximum weight is only 9,500 pounds. Put a superb payload to that now, 2,000 pounds of payload. But as you can see, there's not that much room in the back. There's only room for a maximum of 9 passengers. And when you put kit on those troops, that obviously reduces the amount that we can put in. And if we also are fitting the two actually carry cargo, and we also have a casualty evacuation function if required. A nice dirty pass through the underside of the aircraft there with the gear down, ladies and gents. If he pitches up, nose up at the end, that'll be full power, so fingers might need to go in ears. Alright, we'll have to see how far he can get out there with that, but that's usually this signing off the end of his display.
Doug Hamilton, ladies and gentlemen.
Also, the check-in underway right now for the midday DC-3 flight. There is one seat left if you want to get on there, and they're still looking for passengers Gemmell, Breen and James. If you've booked your flight.
As we get the little Fokker DR1s airborne as we get set for the Great Wars scenario. Good to see that sun, although of course that wind, Graham, has gotten up just a little bit of late.
Not too bad there though. People flying at this airfield, and so we're pretty thrilled to have it here. It was only completed about 6 months ago.
What we have to remember with these old aircraft, it was so close with these aeroplanes to the dawn, or the birth of powered controlled flight. I mean, this came along not much later, really.
Well, that's right. That Sopwith pup we're talking about goes back to about 1915. That's 12 years after the Wright brothers flew. So it's not a whole long gestation or development in aviation before we saw that aircraft as a combat aircraft, having come back from the very first of the heavy and air controllable flight aircraft. Everything's been dark, muddy, barbed wire, all the horror that we always associated with World War I and World War I fighting in the trenches. And to look out of that darkness and misery up at this crazy mix of insane people in these outrageous aircraft with all these colours, it's a little wonder they called it the flying circus. It must have just been such a contrast to everyday life in the trenches. And here's the three Sopwiths, Sopwith Pup in the lead, Sopwith Triplane and Sopwith Camel.
It is a mind-blowing kind of thing. We spoke yesterday about some of the people involved in bringing these World War I era aeroplanes to life for us to enjoy at shows like this. We talked about Stuart Tantrum, who was based on this very field here. He did some of the pioneering work, I guess, and bringing some of this very early generation.
I say reproduction because I'm talking about aircraft built exactly the way they were in 1915 or 17 or 18. And that's the focus of TVAL in Wellington, is to bring the aircraft back exactly as they were, same instruments, same engine, and if that means building the engine from scratch, well, that's what they do.
And it's interesting how they form a network with some of the big collectors around the world, like Kermit Weeks with the Albatross and what have you, that we've enjoyed here. Actually engineer, basically, from the DNA available through just plans and what have you, to bring back some stuff that has been non-existent.
DNA is a good way to put it there, Pete. Yeah, I like that. Where drawings aren't available, they'll visit existing aircraft in other parts of the world or incomplete airframes and reproduce exactly those original structures, just in order to get their reproduction aircraft as exact as possible.
Now that's flying with the Ranger engine, am I right?
That one's operating out with a Ranger engine, a 200 horsepower Ranger, as a substitute for the original Rolls-Royce Falcon. The Falcon's a very rare engine. There's only 6 that we know of operating in the world, or rather 6 in existence in the world, 2 of them operating, and the other one is in New Zealand. So, lucky Bristol flight. Give the Bristol fighter crew a wave as they go past, guys. Very special aeroplane.
Graham, with the big F2B there, how critical is it to have somebody in the back? How's the centre of gravity affected without somebody in the back? Would you need like a ballast in there?
Absolutely right. All of the Bristol fighters were placarded to carry ballast in the back when there wasn't a gunner, just because it made the aeroplane tail light, and that limited your flight envelope. So you really do need to carry ballast if you don't have a volunteer to climb in the back. We've got the Camel on the ground now. We've still got the Pocket D7 airborne. Sopwith triplane just touching down now. A couple of Pocket triplanes still on the air. It's almost hard to know where to look, isn't it? There's so much going on.
Everywhere.
That's all right.
Just a reminder, the Graham will be around tomorrow for a while, and there are a couple of slots available, and he has a seat in the back of the P51. So if you feel like ticking a big item off your bucket list this weekend here at Omaka, and you've bought the MasterCard, the Gold card, pop along to the information tent, and don't forget the Spitfire TR9.
Well, they were all made after they were originally made, weren't they? They were all made from single-seat aircraft.
Right.
And that's another aircraft that if, like you said before, you want to get out your visa, you can jump in and have a ride in. So watching this today might make it just tip you over.
$1 a ticket, and it's a real gourmet experience, so I'd love to see you there. Frank Parker's just opened the taps on the Focke-Wulf. Have a listen to this. In the dear family Spitfire. Successful of the Spitfire models, and it was really because of this aeroplane that the Mark 9 happened at all. We were discussing yesterday how many of these airplanes were built. I believe it was about 12,000, 3,000 of those built in Canada. And it was the aircraft which was to become the most prolific aircraft type of all in Australia, at least for quite a long period of time. Certainly during World War II, with over 1,000 flying with the Royal Australian Air Force, including this one. It was certainly a very, very common airplane at the time, especially considering they're so rare now. I remember reading about the dilemma that the RAAF or the military disposals people faced after the war, when they found that when they pulled one of these apart and scrapped the components, it cost something like £10, 15 shillings and 7 pence to destroy an Avro Anson. Because they had so many, they decided to find another way to destroy them, so they sold them to farmers for about £5 and actually made money out of the deal. Farmers love to use them, of course, because they're a ready supply of steel tube, nuts and bolts, wire, electric cable, all sorts of things.
And fuel.
And fuel.
Yes, I've actually heard of examples of aircraft having been sold off post-war when the fuel that's been drained out of the tanks has been valued at more than what the person paid for the entire aeroplane.
Absolutely right, and that was probably the case with the Ansons as well. I remember one guy was reputed to have taken his Anson, pulled the outer wings off, built a big turntable, and the airplane would sit on the turntable and revolve slowly at night time to keep the frost off the cross.
Graham, can we draw any comparisons with the airspeed Oxford, which of course we have considerably more of than the Anson. We're only in the 20s with the Anson, but we're way up in the hundreds with the Oxford. Looks like a similar sized aeroplane, similar engines.
Many aspects of them were the same. The big difference perhaps was construction, because the Oxford was made of plywood. And the Anson here had a steel tube fuselage, so as a consequence, when they left outside for long periods of time, the Oxfords would fall apart. They were built with wooden wings. And the wings were built in one piece, which are about 60-something feet across, so it was converted. I'm thinking about 1963, 64. This, of course, ensures that it will be with us for a long time to come.
Graham, you're talking about these things being left in paddocks and being discovered. Is there lots still out there to be discovered and to be restored, or are they getting less and less and less?
That's actually quite impressive. It's either going to launch or do something else, who knows, but let's just keep an eye on that thing. Pretty good, huh? 9 World War II fighters, beautifully restored, beautifully presented, beautifully flown today. Followed in our parade this afternoon by the Red Checkers, the CT4 air trainers of the RNZAF.
It's always great to have